Everybody, welcome back to another video. I appreciate you tuning in. We are going to be doing a market recap today, going over SPY, the Qs, and then a couple of other tickers or stocks. We're going to talk about Tesla, Google, Microsoft, and Nvidia, and then a ETF that is like a bullish ETF with Tesla, TSLL, if you don't know what that is. But anyway, let's just get right to it here, talking about SPY. Let's pause. Hey, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment when the video is done. Let me know what you think. I appreciate you. That's how you can support me. All right, let's get back to it. So on the daily chart here, let's have a look at SPY. So if you've watched some of our other videos, you will know that this downward trending line here, this trend line is what it's called. There's another one here that shows us just the pattern of what a stock is doing. And when we see a trend line in a downward fashion like this, it is referred to as a bull flag. And typically when a flag is forming on a stock, it's bullish, which means potentially more upside to come. And now SPY has been doing this, just chopping sideways in this big range, basically between 578 all the way up to the 607 mark here, just lots of chop. But this flag that's forming is kind of interesting. If you know what Elliott waves are. I'm not a huge expert in it by any means, but just the pattern of this flag forming here, we see it's touching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then after 5, usually it means blast off and breakthrough. That's just a rough takeaway on an Elliott wave 5-point correction. And again, not an expert, but I just like how the setup is looking here, to be honest. The overall market, this gap up that we had that gave us jumping over these EMA lines, which we've talked about in other videos before, that just move with the price of the stock. And generally when these candles are above these lines, it is a positive sign for the stock overall. And it was able to jump up over several of these lines, and you can just see what I mean if we come back and zoom out. When the stock is in a downward trend, you can see it dips below these lines. Dips below the lines. It's not a good thing to see. So it was looking a little scary earlier this week when we had those huge sell-offs, when the stock dipped below, but we've managed to gap up and return back over it this week. So things are looking good for SPY. It's looking kind of similar. One more thing I forgot to point out. Another positive thing that is working in SPY's direction right now is we have some bullish divergence forming with the RSI and the price down here, which helped lead to this rally. And as long as this RSI doesn't break back down below here, there's a good chance that we finally do get some pressure against this trend line and break up to go chase the all-time highs again for SPY. But we need to break through this trend line first. We need to get past this 596 level, looking quite nice on this previous support and resistance level, the 591 area. So things are looking good. No crazy recession or market correction at the moment. If you watched our other videos about the Qs here, you'll know we talked about this kind of falling wedge pattern that's happening. Also a similar looking pattern to SPY here. And this falling wedge pattern that's forming with these two trend lines. Falling wedge is usually a bullish pattern, and we talked about it in our last video how the Qs could easily bounce up and down in this wedge before finally breaking out. And it tried to break out this week. It failed to do it today, got knocked back down, but it's holding over these EMAs, which is nice and bullish. We like to see that. So there's a good chance that either next week, hopefully next week, it gives us a nice push and breaks through. If next week, tomorrow even, we get some more sell-off, there's a chance we come back down here again, touch this blue line or even this white line down here, which kind of fits perfectly with a pretty big support and resistance level down here at 496. There's still lots of room down for Qs to go before it can launch up to the upside again, but with the chip market and technology sector like Microsoft, Google, Nvidia, AMD, everybody, earnings is just a couple of weeks away. Usually those are big movers for the market, and with these nice positive patterns forming leading up to an earnings season that we have in technology, I am looking more towards the side of this thing is going to break to the upside. We're going to see all-time highs again before we see any type of major correction. That's just my personal opinion. So now let's take a look over at Google. This is a stock that I've been watching pretty closely, trying to follow and do some day trading with. And you see all these lines on here. Hard to make a bunch of it right now, but the main things that we've talked about with Google is this bullish pennant that broke to the upside, which is great. We like to see that. And at some point, this price is going to come back down and touch this downward trend line. It's going to happen. That's just what the algorithms do. But for now, and that's on a weekly chart. So it'll be a little while before that happens. Very possible, February, March, we see that price coming back down here to touch that line. But for now, we've still got some bullish momentum going on in general. You can see this orange trend line here, and then this white trend line here gave us another pennant, which broke to the upside. And then it came back down, and it's given us a nice solid retest, which is great. We got two good retest candles here where this bottom wick comes down. You see the skinny part of the candle, that's called a wick down. And then it closed with the fat part of the candle up here, gave us a nice hammer candle, and that usually knocks the price up with some really good momentum. And that's exactly what it did, and it's now jumped back over this white trend line as well. Lots of bullish activity going on for Google here. And today it closed with an inside day, which means the price, top and bottom, was within the price top and bottom of the day before. It's inside of the overall price of the previous candle. Usually when we see something like that, we can expect a big move pretty soon. So I would expect either tomorrow or at some time next week, Google is going to decide if it wants to jump up or down. And I'm still leaning that it's got more upside instead of downside. It's coming up soon. So yeah, that's my plan. I'm just keeping a close eye on this every single day. And I'll do a video recap of my day trades tomorrow, potentially, once we see what happens with Google. All right, let's go over to Tesla here and see what Tesla is doing. It's looking quite nice. Again, we've got another one of these trend lines that we've talked about. Just helps us figure out what a stock's going to do and when the momentum is going to kick in. And we've broke out of the trend. It's given us a little retest here. And then we had another inside day form. I'm expecting Tesla to launch to the moon. All-time highs very, very soon, sooner than later. It's possible that over either tomorrow or early next week, we get a candle that comes down, retests this trend line, and also retests this support at the 403 area. And it'll give us a good wick, close back up before taking off. Very possible. But I expect within the next week or two for this thing to run up at least to this 465 area here. And we picked this area because of the candles closing here and it acting as a pretty good support and resistance zone. You could also argue that the price could stop here before getting a little bit of a rejection, retesting down and launching up. But at the very least, I expect it to run up to this 460 area within the next couple of weeks. So we'll be able to look back at this video and see if I was right or wrong. Now, if you don't know what TSLL is, it is just a ETF that has a 2x movement up or down with the price of Tesla. So it follows the price of Tesla very, very closely. It's not identical 100%, but I like to trade with this chart here because the prices and the premiums for options are much lower compared to Tesla. So if you have the account to trade with Tesla, awesome, that's fantastic. I do not, so I stick with trading this, and you can see just back and forth, the charts are almost identical. It's just one is a cheaper price than the other. I do not recommend buying shares of TSLL and holding them for the long term because this is a decaying type of ETF. It's not gonna stick around forever and match the price of Tesla permanently forever. So not a long-term thing. If you're gonna go with shares, just buy Tesla shares. All right, let's go take a look at Microsoft, our favorite stock. Yeah, we're doing great on time here. Favorite stock for 2025 from the weekly chart and the diamond pattern that we've been talking about in our prior videos, how it's been retesting this trend line, holding up quite nicely so far, and we've broken back above a trend line that was acting as a positive bullish trend line for momentum that it had broken under, which was a potential signal that things weren't going to be going well soon, but we recaptured it. And for now, as long as Microsoft stays over this 415 price, we are looking quite nice. We are looking good. That is a weekly close under 415 here would be my sign to sell my shares, take a small loss, and wait for it to find a bottom. But for now, we are still holding strong, looking good. I still think this stock is going to perform quite nicely in the short term and in the long term for 2025. So not a whole lot of updates here for this one. I did see somebody point out a potential bear flag forming, so not to be a permanent bullish mindset and just convince myself things are going to always be going up. I wanted to look at that here. So it's very possible that this, let's see, so yeah, that's very well could be a bull flag there that we see. So this line here, let's make them a different color. We'll make it red for scary. So if the price, see it's underneath this bullish area, right, or the bearish area there, where, let's go to the daily and find a better. So when drawing trend lines, I try to use bigger time frames, but if it's not the most clear, I'll go down to the daily to help give me just a better idea where these candles are moving. So there we go, that looks better. See how it lines up with these candles better, where the price action it has been starting and stopping. So then now we can go back to the weekly chart to see what we're looking at now. So okay, so it had it lined up with this bottom candle. So right now, as long as the price is on this side of this red line, we are happy. Even on the daily chart, as long as the price is on this side, anywhere up here of this red line, we're happy. If it goes below this red line, we get nervous. It's quite possible that it breaks under this red line and follows this trend up on the bottom end of this red line, and that's okay. But we get nervous when it breaks under. If it breaks under this red line and breaks under 415, we will be closing out our position. So just something to keep an eye on. It is possible for that price to, or the bearish flag there to play out in a negative way for us. I am bullish, but that doesn't mean we can't be aware of the potential downside that does exist with the chart and what it's telling us. So just something to always good to be aware of and keep in mind. All right, let's go and take a look at NVIDIA here. So we've talked about NVIDIA in our other videos, and to be honest, NVIDIA looks quite ugly. It's not looking good. This candle is gross, this weekly candle. It's not a good looking one. And right now, we're still within on the weekly time frame. So this white line here and this white line here, it's forming a rising wedge is what it's referred to, and that is typically a bearish pattern that and a structure that we see that causes a stock to fall to the downside. And with this blue trend line here on the weekly time frame, we broke out and we've never retested it yet. So I fully expect that to happen. And it's kind of lining up and looking like if this breaks underneath, if the price breaks underneath next week, within the next couple of weeks, we are probably looking at a price of 100, maybe even lower a little bit, of NVIDIA very soon, within the near term, several months maybe, like by mid-March, April. Well, again, we'll be able to look back at this video and see if I was right or wrong. For now, in the more immediate short term, since earnings season again is right around the corner, AVGO just had really good earnings, which is another chip stock. So it's a positive sign for other chip stocks like NVIDIA, and we've talked about it before. I do expect this stock to run up and try to touch this trend line one more time before finally breaking to the downside. And we could be wrong. Right now, it doesn't really have good momentum going for it, other than just being earnings season and AVGO having good earnings, which is some positive momentum working in NVIDIA's favor. But it's been a quite heavy stock, is what it's referred to. It could be better. We'll say that. The good things though, this yellow trend line that you see here, you see how it breaks out, came down, retested, launched way up here, came down, and it's kind of retesting this area again. So not a bad thing to see, to be honest. It kind of retested that zone and could be going back up. So get out of here. That's what I'm saying. There's a very good chance that we come back up, touch this one more time before actually breaking to the downside. But with a lot of these charts playing out, and see, the interesting thing is, we have the Qs with a bullish pattern forming, and with NVIDIA being such a big part of the Qs, that's what makes me think we get one more hurrah here with NVIDIA before breaking to the downside, because something has to carry the Qs if this bullish pattern breaks, and since NVIDIA is a big chunk of that, that's why I'm thinking we get one more good push there. So yeah, that's what wanted to go over today. We've had a pretty interesting last couple of weeks. Some big sell-offs and some big bounces. Lots of crazy price action with uh, economic data coming out and jobs data and inflation data. And tomorrow is OPEC's options expiry week. The third week of every month, there's a lot of options that expire, so we usually see a lot of volatility around that time. So I'm definitely expecting some craziness tomorrow and then next week, especially with the inauguration and everything. That usually provides some good volatility. There's going to be a lot of good opportunities to make some good money. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so you can stay tuned on what we plan on doing going forward with the stock market, and just how we plan on making some money with the crazy price action that we are given. And hopefully you are able to follow along and learn something. Hopefully these videos are making some sense for you. I would love it if you'd leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Yeah, just hope this is giving you any type of value. If it is, and you're not already, I'm going to ask it one more time. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and yeah, till next time, get a video recap of tomorrow's day trades for y'all. All right, talk to y'all soon.